What's going on, world? We're back again. The Wisdom, Whiskey, and Winning Team. My name is Julius Taylor, also known as Tay. To my right, if you're watching this on YouTube, I got my boy Ritchie. I'll allow him to introduce himself.
What up, everybody? It's me again, Ritchie Brown. Everybody knows me as RB. Just here to bring it back again. So it's good to be back.
Yeah, back again. We are one half of the Wisdom, Whiskey, and Winning Team. We also have our boy Lo, who couldn't be here today, and we also have our boy P, who is now overseas. He's stationed overseas, so he'll be guest starring on some of our podcasts here in the future. So yes, our podcast is about growth. All right, we want to help people grow through our experiences and through the lessons that we learned through the good times and the bad times. So without any further ado, man, how you been, brother?
Man, it's been a journey. Last time I talked to everybody, I was over in Montana. A lot of obstacles had to overcome, but now through all the transitioning and the year that's went by, I'm over here in Dover, Delaware. So nice, cool weather. Ain't got to worry about negative degrees no more. Oh. So life is good, brother. How about yourself?
Man, good. Last time we talked on the podcast, I was just moving into the house, and we've been here about a year now. That's crazy to even think about. Enjoying myself. Andrews Air Force Base now. Really love it there. Love my leadership there. Love the people there. Everybody's been super good to me. Couldn't ask for anything more. I'm working in training over there. And yeah, man, it's been going pretty good. Like I feel like I'm excelling, but nowhere near have reached my peak at all. So, I've reached a couple goals, and you know what they say is once you reach one goal, the reward for reaching a goal is the next goal. So yeah, man. So we're here to talk about a little bit about that today. So other than that, man, what are you doing now, Ritchie? Like, what's going on now with you?
Oh, so now I'm stationed at Dover Air Force Base, located in Delaware. I am now a flight chief. Big shout out to my flight, Cobra Kai. We are doing great things over here, trying to make, that's what they hate it when I do this, but yes, I'm a flight chief right now, trying to do my best to motivate and encourage the young gentlemen and men that work with me, the young men and women that work with me, and guide them to whatever their destiny is. So I'm really, really loving my job. Big shout out to my team over at Malsham. I miss them, but this is a growth part for me, because now, being a master sergeant, I'm the top. All issues come down, stop at me. All issues come up, I got to make sure I fix before it goes up. So I'm really loving life right now. I can't complain, brother.
Okay. Hey, man. So I got something to say. I know I kind of hit you with a surprise. So if anybody's watching this or hearing this right now, we kind of discussed the issues that we're going to talk about ahead of time. And then we kind of think about some stuff that we want to bring to you all, some lessons that we learned, some stories that we've been through, or some stories and situations that we've been through, and then we talk about it. But I'm about to hit Ritchie with something, because he talked to me about something a couple weeks ago. It just came to my mind, so you can't really blame me for being petty. But you coming to 20 years, man. You coming to 20 years,
man. Listen.
So what's next? Because really, did you come this far just to come this far, or?
Man, I promise you, my journey has been it's been a surprise, the whole journey. Didn't expect to go with 6 years. And at the end of 6 years, I didn't have a plan. So I decided to re-enlist for 4 years. And when I got to 10, either you keep going or you get off. And if it wasn't for somebody that was at Scott Air Force Base that kind of gave me the idea of going to the CRG, I would have probably got out. But he said, hey, would you like to jump out of planes? And I'll try anything to get out of here. And got lucky to go to the CRG and meet wonderful people like you, Lo and P.
Hey.
And then next thing you know, I'm at 16 and I'm just like, what? So now being at 19 and I think 3 months, it is surreal. Now I have the option if I want to continue to go or if I want to retire. Retire, I don't even know if I feel like I'm still too young to retire. You know what I mean?
Right. You only 50.
Don't get it twisted. I can still beat you in a race right now.
Stop.
Like 100 meters, it's a wrap. We'll record it one day for our fans, me dusting him.
That's not
but for right now, now that I'm getting close to 20, what's next? Honestly, I'm debating between, going to school, sitting on my couch and playing video games for the first year, fishing.
That don't sound like you at all.
It doesn't, but taking a break, you got to decompress. And 20 years to decompress, I need to figure out what the civilian part is like. So having my own schedule, making my own decisions and not having to, go about, hey, you need to be here right now. Mm-hmm. So I do think the transition as we get to it will be interesting. I don't know if it's going to be at 20. I mean, I can push to 24, and if E8 comes around, I can push even further. But as of right now, I am in a gray area where I think about it. I think about what if I just retire today? What does that look like? So to be honest with you, brother, I'm thankful to make it this far, but I don't know because there's so many possibilities. So it's exciting, but it's also nerve-wracking because a lot of people are afraid of making mistakes. I'm not afraid of making mistakes. I just want to do something that I love doing. Right. And obviously here we are doing what we love doing. So
you've been successful all this time. You've been successful all this time, and you've been doing a lot of things in your career that our job is security forces. Normal people in security forces don't get a chance to do. The people who are stuck in our career field that maybe don't get those opportunities, do you think they're not successful because they prepared to quit, or they prepared not to be successful? Because as well as I know, a lot of people in our career field sit around and talk negative, talk about the things that they hate instead of making the best of the opportunity. And I think that now that we've seen the other side of this thing, we just make the best of each opportunity that we have. So my question is the mindset of people now, especially in our career field, do you think they prepare to quit? Do you think they give themselves an excuse? Oh, if I don't make this, or I don't get this job, if I don't get this position, it's okay. They're okay with being average, or they're okay with being mediocre in a way.
I do think it starts at the top. Every airman that I've met, it's always about whoever their mentor, supervisor, or whoever they admired was doing. And we come from a very unique path. So when I start speaking, it's very eye-opening. And they're like, I didn't even know I could do that. So no, I don't think they failed. I think we're an advocate, and I'm huge on being the advocate of what opportunities come from being security forces. But not only security forces, if I have airmen that are out there that are CE, Intel,
no doubt.
All the opportunities are out there, but it starts from us at the top mentoring it down. Okay. And telling them, look, you don't have to do this. If this is what makes you disgruntled, let's try something else. What do you want to do? And I think that's where some supervisors, they misstep because they don't find the core of what somebody wants to do. If you can find out what somebody's game prize is, what
drives them, what's their why?
Yes, what's their why? Once you find out what their why is and you're able to blend it in with what the Air Force's why is, they'll do anything. Yeah. And it's amazing to see how much work ethic changes when you're saying, hey, look, I know you like to hoop, but there's a basketball team for the Air Force, and I need you to work hard so when the tryouts come, you can perform and do this. Now they're like, yo, I didn't know there was a basketball team. Yes, I've been watching you, you're phenomenal, but in order for you to get there, I need you to perform here. And you show what they need to do to get to their end goal. They're willing to work for it. But it's also the mentorship of explaining what AMS is.
Exactly.
When the jobs drop, where they can go. One of the first things I've done as a flight chief is on our training day, I pulled up the map on AMS that shows you where all the bases are. Some of them are not open anymore, but it shows you all the bases in the Air Force. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And I showed them that and blew their mind. I didn't even know that was there. I've never heard of that place before. But it's it starts right here. Because now if I get you talking about it and thinking about it, maybe you will re-enlist, maybe you will extend. And if there's already toxic vibes in some of our airmen, it's more now, let's talk about why you're angry. And let's move on past this. This is an angry phase, and you have the right to be angry for whatever happened in the past, but it's not to carry it into the future.
Exactly. And like I tell people all the time is that when our airmen, no matter what career field, as you stated, come from, they come with baggage. And sometimes as supervisors, we have to unpack that. And a young supervisor who's never had a supervisor unpack their baggage doesn't know to unpack their airman baggage. So now you just have this generational curse, if you will, of people going through these negative stints of just not being successful. You know what I'm saying? And so I did the same thing with my airmen when I got on flight is, but I told them about AMS and I brought up the map and I showed them where everything was and I showed them how they can get this job. And I sent out my resume so they can see how I got to the 435th. And I tell them stories about the things that I've done, you know what I'm saying? Like, because some, like you said, like some of them minds are blown, even some staff sergeants, which surprised me. But I also give them the reality is that, you can apply for this job, but trust me, there's a lot of other people that know about this job. So I also tell them that failing, when you apply for a job, you might fail. And that's a process. But so is success. Success is a process as well. So when you get the job, when you get the job and you go there, you have to succeed in that job. It doesn't just stop with you getting the job. And when you fail, you have to learn you have to know what you learn. Okay, where did I go wrong? What could I have done better? What can I do different next time when I apply for this job? Maybe I can reach out to the POC. Maybe I can have somebody look over my package next time. You know what I'm saying? Like there's processes in both. And I think that it's critical and essential that our airmen understand that we have to be able to see both sides and not when we fail or I apply for that job and I didn't get it one time, then I just stop. No, it doesn't work like that.
So sorry to cut you off, but one thing that I hear a lot is, oh, you've had such a perfect career, and airmen legit think that, I chuckle too, they think that life was just so good and I made no mistakes. Have you ever encountered that in your time?
What do you mean? I do that now. Like people think that now. They see me now and they see everything that I have now. Like they see the tabs, they see, the success, they see the office, they see like all my accolades and stuff like that. They see my resume, because at the 435th, I was fortunate enough to go to a lot of different schools and that, but they don't see the struggle. They it's like that meme that's going around with like the dude talking to the crowd and he has big success, but on his back, it showed all the struggles that he went through. They don't see that. They don't see that this wasn't a perfect road. This was, well as I do, this was not a perfect road. It was very rough. And we went through some very dark times in our lives to get to where we are and be able to talk to people about it. And I think that is, and I'm gonna pat us on the back because I think that it's a show of strength to be able to articulate it in a way where people can learn from our failures and make ourselves vulnerable to share our stories. You know what I'm saying? There was times where I felt bad. I wanted to fight for you because I felt bad with how people were treating you. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, likewise, man. Likewise. It's not a struggle. I just find it it's an interesting road because today's airmen are so used to right now. Mm-hmm. Everything comes right now. It's a click of a button away. It's instant. So one of the things that I try to get them to do is to stay focused. Focus is like a very huge thing and something that I'm working on. What is the example that you use to stay focused?
So my focus is in my routine and my consistency. That's kind of what keeps me on the path. And then because some people, this airman talked to me actually on Friday. He said, Sergeant Taylor, I see that you're getting up every day at a certain time to work out, and then you do it every single day. I want to do that, but when I get up at a certain time, I'm usually on my phone scrolling for about 25 minutes because I hate the thought of getting up. I said, well, you have to train. I say, you train your muscles, right? You train your muscles, you train your biceps to get bigger, you train your legs to get stronger, you train your chest to get bigger. You have to train your mind to get up at a certain time. So when you get up, you have to pop up, and then don't mess around, don't touch your phone. And then also that goes with discipline, right? So that you have to be disciplined. So with me, going through all that, man, I literally, my success is in my routine. My success is in my thought process of who I'm doing it for. I want to be around for my grandkids and for my kids, and to watch them grow up to be prosperous. That's what's always on my mind. So I condition myself. I condition my mind. I don't allow my mind to take control of me. I control my mind. I control what I do. You know what I mean? I don't let other people around me control me. I don't let other situations control me. I don't let anything control me but myself. And then when I fall off my routine or something happens to mess up my routine, I then adjust. And I think that's the hard time. That's one of the things that airmen, young people today have a hard time doing, is adjusting. When something falls off, oh, just forget it. I'm done. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Quick
So,
example. Today, Saturdays usually my long workout days. I usually get up around 8 and I usually work out to about 11. You know what I mean? But for some reason, I just wasn't feeling it. You know what I mean? And it threw me off my routine. You know what I'm saying? I was just sitting on the couch watching TV. And then all of a sudden, I just adjusted. I got myself up. I said, you know what? It's 2:00. I still got the podcast at 5. I'm about to work out. Like, I'm not about to give myself.
hell yeah.
And I didn't negotiate with myself.
Oof.
I didn't negotiate with myself. I stopped negotiating with myself. So in the beginning, when I woke up, I negotiated with myself. I said, no, you'll be fine. You can work out tomorrow. You can do this. You can do this on your next day off. Or, hey, it's a rest day tomorrow. You just take your rest day today, and then then you'll work out tomorrow. But you'll switch the rest days. No, I didn't negotiate with myself. I said, Julius, you're going to get up and you're going to work out. You know what I mean? And I burned 700 calories in one workout. You know what I'm saying?
My man.
Just not negotiating with yourself and sticking to your routine. Practice something. Practice conditioning your mind. You know what I mean? Your process may be messy, but your mess will be your message, one day. So it's a rough road. And it's crazy because we've been on this for a while. This is not even the topics that we're supposed to be talking about.
Right.
Can we focus? Like, we didn't went off on a whole tangent, and
hey,
it's my fault.
Before we transition to the topic, speaking of focus, I want everybody to look this up. It's on Instagram. There's a guy, you can Google it. Just type in focus message. The guy was talking about guarding your focus. He said, you pay for a security system for your car so nobody breaks into your car. You'll pay for a security system for your house for nobody to break into your house. Why? Because you find the things inside to be valuable. Why don't you put a guard or a security system on your focus? Yeah. There's a lot of people out there that will distract you from what your main goal is. You have to guard your focus like you guard your kids. You have to guard your focus like you guard your own life. Like whatever your prized possession is, you have to guard it the same way you guard that prized possession, because you'll never reach your goal if you're always distracted. And there are a lot of people out there just made for distractions.
Yeah, it's true. And so like to be honest with you, a lot of people are made for distractions. That's because they're below you. Oof. And you people feel bad when people are below them. It's okay that people are below you. They need to find their way up. You're at a certain altitude. When you're at a certain altitude, when a plane is climbing, it doesn't look down. The nose doesn't go down. It's pointing up. And so when we're going up and we're at a certain altitude, they're not authorized to be at that altitude. So why do you even care about what they're saying? Because people that are above your altitude are going to try to pull you up. People that are below you are going to try to pull you down because they want you to be down there where they are. So keep flying your course, fly your altitude. And if you're down there at the bottom and you're on the ground level, start working your way up. Start looking at yourself. That's when you have to self-identify what you're doing wrong and why you're not moving, why you're staying at the base level. And usually that goes into your circle. Who is in your circle? Because when your blessings stop, I seen this on that Focus Instagram. This guy said, when my blessings stop, or when I'm stagnant, or when I stop moving forward in progress in my career, I start looking at my circle and see who could be causing me to stop my progress. And a lot of times we have a hard time disconnecting from people in our circle. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, unfortunately, there's a lot of family members who I don't talk to. I love them to death, but I don't talk to because we're not at the same altitude. And so they could distract me from my focus. You know what I'm saying? So do you have how do you keep your how do you know who to keep in your circle? You know what I mean? Like what is it that helps you stay focused? Like, because I know, like, if I was a distraction to you, you would probably have no problem cutting me off from your circle to say, "Hey, man, when you get to this level, maybe we can hook up again." So, how do you keep that tight? Like, how difficult is it to cut people off from your circle who no longer is at your level?
So it's extremely hard. And, most of the time, the people that are in your circle are friends of yours. You have strong memories with them. You've won with them. And maybe they took a break. And you're trying to encourage them so they can be a part of your circle, but sometimes they become the weak link. And it is extremely tough when you have to make that decision to cut them off. However, when you're analyzing your circle, you're looking at what they're attributing to you and what they're attributing to their self, because they have their own things that they're working on too. And you're as valuable as the people around you. So if you're staying at home and you're not doing anything with your life, yes, you are sinking because of the anchor that's attached to you. And most of the time, that anchor is part of your circle. So once you realize it, now it becomes a little bit easier. But earlier in my life, when I was younger, it was tough because I wanted them to walk with me. But it took me realizing that they've reached their part for me.
Mm-hmm. They played their part.
Then we have to discontinue. And it's not personal. Like, a lot of people are going to take it personal, like, yo, you just cut me off. But later they'll realize that you're on a road and they haven't matured to the level that you matured to move on. Everybody can't go with you to the next station. And that was a very hard lesson for me to learn. But once I learned it, and I learned just to minimize my circle to just a small amount. Everybody doesn't have to be in my circle. I don't have to talk to everybody. I don't have to share my dreams with everybody. That made it a lot easier. Because once you do your analyzation, who's celebrating with you when you win?
And
Look closely.
Man.
And who is really there for you when you lose? Because some people are in your circle just to make sure you don't make it to the next station. And that's the heartbreaking part.
You know, I was talking to one of the people that I mentored, and he was telling me that, like, sometimes it's hard. He had a best friend that he's had since he was a kid. They were like brothers. They lived with each other and everything like that. But for some reason, the guy, he's trying to elevate himself, and the guy that who he talks to isn't on his level anymore. And I told him, well, sometimes people are in your life for a season and they play a certain role. They helped you. Like, he had he didn't have the best, upbringing, but he had that young man in his life to help him get through that season. And it's okay that they're not best friends anymore. Doesn't mean that I stop. It doesn't mean I cut you off. I don't want people to believe like, oh, I just don't cut you off. I don't talk to you. No, it's just that you're not in my circle of friends anymore. When I have a problem, I don't go to you for advice because your advice is not what I need. Your advice is maybe different than what I need because you're going to give me an excuse to be whatever. You're going to say, oh, well, it's okay to be average. It's okay to take a break. It's okay. Instead of someone saying, you know what, you need to get off your butt and you need to work harder, or this was your fault. This wasn't this person's fault. I know oftentimes when I'm talking to Ritchie about my wife, and I'm talking to him about certain situations, he'll look at me and say, well, you're wrong.
It's the same on both sides.
I get so irritated. I won't say angry. I get so irritated with that because he might be right, but at times the mind and the body, we're human. We want someone to make us feel good.
Absolutely.
We want someone to make us tell us that we're right. We want someone to be on our side. It's natural human instincts, right? But what we need is someone to bring us back to reality. What we need is someone to hold us accountable. What we need is someone to tell us that we're wrong. What we need is someone that will always tell us the truth.
The truth, man.
And And oftentimes, as a young person, I didn't have that. I had people who were on my side. And so it took me a while to get to the stage in my life to where I was like, I now I can self-identify when I'm wrong and I can apologize for it, but I still got my annoying big brother over here to tell me when I'm wrong too. And he will tell you. Like, and so but that's what I need in my life, right? And I think me, Richie, Low, and P, we all have grown together and we all hit different stages in life. And like Low, he is civilian now, so he sees things from a whole different perspective than we do. And I value Low's perspective.
Absolutely.
Because one, he's been married longer than us. He's been through it all in his career, personal life. Like he's had some hardships that I value and I learned from. Very wise dude, you know what I'm saying? So, and then now seeing on the civilian side, he can give me nuggets that I didn't even think about, you know what I'm saying? Because sometimes I think inside the military box instead of the civilian box as well, but he does both. He's good at both. So yeah, man. All right. Settling. When we settle, when we settle, it's like letting an authorized intruder into our lives. We're allowing someone into our lives. So what do you say to those people who settle for just anything or just being mediocre? You know what I mean? Like I know you have some people on flight, and you know sometimes we need these people who just like, well, oh, I'm good. I'm good with just being a response force leader and just coming to work. And I don't want to excel. I don't want to do anything. I just want to do my job and go home. I don't want to volunteer. I don't want like when you settle like that. What would you say to those people to help them get to the next level? Because if we're not progressing, then we're stagnant. And like a flower, if it stops growing, what does it do? Eventually it dies. You know what I mean? So what would you say to those people?
So as a leader, there's two different directions I go with this. For my people that are settling, Jocko Willing says it the best. Good. He says one word, good. Mm-hmm. Oh, you want to settle for response leader? Good. Oh, you want to settle for I'll just do people finances and I don't want to try to, good. We need people like you. So the people that are ready to run can move up. Because last thing I want is somebody that's just faking and then they get into that leadership position and they don't pull people up with them. I will say people arrive on time. When you arrive, I'll be there. However, I, as your leader, need to do more digging. Because if you're settling for something, there's something on your mind that blows you up. There's something that you can't stop talking about, something that you don't even sleep good about. And my job is to just, by natural conversation, figure out what it is. And that's as a leader, knowing your people. I can explain right now, I got a kid or a young man right now that says he has one of the fastest forward focuses in the world. Good. Good. You let me know when you are racing, I'll come see you race. As I invest into what he likes, now I can talk to him about investing into what the military needs. Because you're good at doing things on a car, you have the situational awareness to lead people. I just got to figure out how to get you there. Yeah. Now, at the same time, if I have an airman that's like, hey, look, I don't want to do anything else. Why? Give me a good explanation why. I just don't. Doesn't work. But a lot of leaders fall for that. If it's, I want to go to school, guess what? If you want to do your job, but go to school and go hard at school, but bring that information back to the flight. Pour into them how they can do good at school and make them good on that level. Right. Now I've taken your specialty of whatever you may be excited for, and I've invested it into the Air Force or military some way, or I invested it into the team some way, or into the corporation some way. I won't find it all, and I won't find it immediately, but you will talk about it. Like, you can't not talk about what you love. That's natural. So everybody has a time when they're stagnant, but I got to figure out what I need to pour on your candle to light it up. And once I pour on it and I ask you questions, oh, you like the hoop? Who's your favorite basketball player? Nah, he's trash. Oh, guess what, Tay? They ready to fight.
Light up. They light up.
They ready to spur up. Well, tell me the best player of all time. Tell me why he the best player of all time. Okay, you can hoop. You good at that. Tell me what else you're good at. Oh, so you can cook too. What's the best meal you make? Can you teach this? Can you make a YouTube on how to do this? Let me show the world how great you really are. Because some people don't psychologically know how phenomenal they are. And it's us as leaders that need to pull it out of them and be like, look, this is you. I'm just here to set you up and show you. Because once they see their real self in the mirror, they're not stagnant no more. They want more. They want that, what is the word? Euphoria. They want that feeling of, man, I am kind of amazing. They said thank you.
And the way you do that is commit once and then do it every single day. Be consistent. And it's my favorite word in dictionary. Do it once, commit to it once. If you want to cook once, post it on Instagram, do whatever you gotta do, but then do it every day. Do something every single day. You don't have to post something every single day, but look up recipes, look up this, look up that. If you hoop, you don't have to go out and play 10, 15 games a day, but watch videos of how to get your game better. Go out and practice. That's how people get better. Commit to it once and then do something about it every single day. I love that, dude. I love that, man. Yeah. We have to, like you said, we have to bring it out of them. That's essential. Especially bringing something out of people, like, you know what I'm saying, making sure people are great. In order for people to get there, though, they have to be broken in a way. So what situation in your life, like, because I think you're a phenomenal NCO, and this might be me just being biased, but in order for you to get to this point, you had to be broken in some kind of way. So for your airmen, for the audience, for people around the world, when have you ever been broken, and how did you recover? And when you get done, I'll answer the same question.
Hell yeah. I appreciate the question. Big shout out to you also, because most of the things I went through, we went through the suck together, brother.
We did.
But I've been broken many times throughout my career. Majority of them were self-inflicted. And there was a quote that said, like, you've matured to a level when you're tired of your own stuff. And I had that moment. But this time I was going through my second divorce. Nothing was working out. My grandfather, who was my idol, he had passed, unfortunately. Big shout out to him. Like, all these things were going wrong. And I discovered motivational videos on YouTube. People like Les Brown, big shout out to Les Brown, Eric Thomas, Zig Ziglar, Jocko Willink, like all of these guys that could speak that positivity into me. And what I didn't know was they were pouring into my cup in this deep moment, but I needed it.
Yeah.
And I'm thankful for my kids. Big shout out to them, because I'm a fighter. I'm not a quitter. Working in the mindset of where I came from with you, Tay, Low, and the guys at the 435th, the mindset was different. And the last thing you're going to do is quit. That's not even it. It's not even a thought.
Not an option.
So finger by finger, grit by grit, I dug my fingers in the mud, and I slowly climbed out. And I watched you on the other side of the hole over there by the horizon, climbing your own way. But that encouraged me also, because broken people help broken people.
Yeah.
And that's crazy, because nobody's going to really realize what you're going through. But when you see somebody else that's hurting in the type of way that you're hurting, it hits differently.
It does.
So I would have to say that those were the things that filled my cup, and it hurt. It sucked. Like, embracing the suck. I think that's one of the things we say in our job. It sucks to suck. Yes. However, it made me so much stronger. And I think everybody's going to go through a low point in their life. Be happy. Just smile at the low point. Everything that comes back to back to back, negative, 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 smile.
Yeah.
Because that's going to be the one point in your life when you're going to realize how strong you really got to be. And after you get out of the hole, you're going to look back down and see the abyss, and you're going to be like, I did that.
Exactly. And also shout out to me because you really didn't talk to me until you had problems, and then I was still a good friend when you had problems, and I decided to you decided to be my friend. I thought we were friends, but then you
Really?
decided to really be my friend when you had problems. But then we just kept going. The thing just kept going. So
I went and stayed at your house for a night. One night.
shout out to me for inviting you into my house.
What?
Shout out to me for letting you and Lo, because people don't know, we're gonna get to it. People didn't know that you and Lo were beefing. And then it was because of me. Y'all got back together. So shout out to me for all your success.
Big shout out to Lo. Big shout out to Lo that me and him was able to work this thing out together.
It was me. It was me. It wasn't Lo. It wasn't you, because you didn't want to talk to Lo, and Lo didn't even know I was going to call him until I did. So
when we have the next episode and y'all see Lo, he'll bring the truth.
But I will say that watching you break but not be broken was a very inspiring thing, because being a witness to the things that you actually went through, and being a witness to the situations, being a witness to how you still, through all that, persevered to be a great dad, to be a great supervisor. A lot of people didn't know what you were going through, and that in itself was I'm pretty sure difficult for you. I want to give you kudos for that. We so happen to be going through similar situations ourselves. I also was going through a divorce. My wife at the time left Germany and went back to the States to just kind of get away. She, to her defense, she was dealing with her own problems, her own demons, and while I was dealing with mine, there was a lot of pride and ego in me that caused a lot of problems in our relationship, and she had a hard time dealing with all that. You know what I mean? So I don't blame her for the things that she did. I don't blame her for the time that she left, because that could have been overwhelming for anyone. But that situation for me broke me. But I think it was E.T. that said, when a diamond is a diamond, it starts off as a rock and then it's broken, right? They break it off, and then they add the pressure. And when you add the pressure, you go through a lot of different things, and if you survive the pressure, then they add on the heat. The heat makes the diamond shape itself, and they cut and mold it. And then once you add the pressure and the heat, then you have a diamond, and then they say the diamond is one of the strongest rocks in the world, and after that, it can't be broken again. So I know from the situation that I went through and the things that I've gone through, I will never get down to that point again. Not that I would never go through anything, not that I would go through trauma. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just imagine a woman wearing a diamond ring. You know how sometimes women are careless. Shout out to my wife. They bump their rings against everything. You know what I mean? They drop their ring. The ring is going to go through some trauma, like, right? The ring is going to go through some things. They don't clean it. Shout out to my wife. They do different things, and you're just like, man, like they're abusing this rock. But once they put a little rag on, a little water on it, shine it up, it looks just like it looked when we first bought it out the store. And that's how I feel like I am now. So small things no longer bother me. All right. When people talk bad about me, it no longer bothers me. When people, try to come against me, it no longer bothers me. The situations that, and the thing is that when I know that if I ever go through anything similar that I went through before, I can get back up. It's going to be okay. It's going to hurt. It's going to suck. It's going to, be bad, but I will be okay. Like, that's what I do know. And
I want to jump in real quick.
Yeah.
And give a shout out to everybody that's going through hard times right now.
Mm-hmm.
I want to let y'all know something, public service announcement from the Wisdom Whiskey and Winning Boys. we get it. And it's going to be hard, but it's okay.
Right.
Clench your fist. You are unstoppable. You will make it through this.
You will be all right.
Never give up. But yeah, I wanted to give that shout out. And also, if y'all want to attend the funeral for Tay over here, because his wife's going to kill him.
Hey, she's going to get me.
Yeah, I'll be probably doing the sermon. So we would love to have you out there.
But you probably just you're going to be laying next to me just because. Like, because otherwise.
Yeah, I probably get killed too. Yeah. So dang.
Yeah, so
but it's gonna be streamed on the podcast.
This might be the last podcast that we do.
You know, we don't know where it's going from here, but
just be happy. We kind of put one episode out before we go on a 1 year hiatus again. So, but no, man. When I want to ask a question,
okay,
but I don't really know how to ask it. Because I feel like we already kind of covered it, but it's fighting your mind. Your mind is a powerful thing. It tells you what to do. It tells you when to go. It tells you how to be. How do you fight your mind to do what you want to do? Like, how do you, like, for instance, you'll hear the term good order and discipline in the military. I think the term good order and discipline isn't only for commanders, first sergeants, and chiefs to implement. I believe it's for us at the lower tier to understand for ourselves first. I think that good order discipline says like, okay, good order. Am I making the right choice so that I don't have to have other people make choices for me? Am I being disciplined enough to know that what position I'm currently in, and if I do this act or if I do this thing, it's going to put me in a bad situation? Because I think a lot of times, Aaron, and even some people are ranking higher, we make bad choices without thinking about it. So what does that mean to you? Like, what is, the controlling your mind and the good order and discipline aspect of things mean to you?
It's about what you desire. Honestly. Like, the desire has to be worth it. It has to be that gym. You want to promote, you got to look good in uniform. You got to perform at work. You got to do these things. But you got to want that. Like, a lot of people don't care if they promote. A lot of people don't care if they win an award. But we have to instill, hey, look, be great. For us security forces, we're the first people that you see when you come to any Air Force base that we have. Like, you're going to see us. And we're going to be dressed to impress. We're going to be professional. And those are the things that we carry with us. But even in the civilian world, you got to want something. Mm-hmm. You got to, like, people don't understand, like, they're okay with failure. And that bothers me sometimes. But to see how people are so willing to just push aside their dreams because it's hard. It's like, and it starts with setting a standard. It goes back to what you were saying at the beginning. Like, but also here's the biggest thing, because I haven't mentioned this yet. Respect the lessons learned. Respect the lessons learned. If you see that somebody else has been in your place and done this, and this is the repercussion and it's bad, maybe you should really reconsider before you go do something that's bad and go down the same steps as that person. Or if you've done something bad already and you are willing to repeat that, it doesn't change. You didn't learn the lesson. There's so many lessons out there that, what we do on this podcast and other people that you're going to meet that are older or maybe even younger that share with you, respect the experience. Take the experience and put it in your learning box, because a lot of young kids will just go out here and do something reckless and they know what's going to happen because they heard about somebody going through this before. But due to the lack of discipline and respecting the lessons learned, they're walking on the same path. And sometimes that's some type of administrative action, or maybe a discharge, or maybe they're doing jail time, and that's life, military or not. So I think it's respecting the lessons learned is huge for me, because I think listening to some people's lives and processes kind of helped me make my decisions And the discipline of knowing what I want, like what you want and what you need should line up. If
Right.
you know you need to do this to keep your lights on, guess what? You should want to do this too,
Right.
regardless if
Right.
it's not going to the club or if it's not doing this. If you know you need to clean your room because you're gonna have a room inspection, because you don't want the fur sergeant on you, guess
Right.
what? You should want to do that. But we got to get rid of the laziness. Laziness is contagious because once you
Mhm.
do it a few times, it's like eating your favorite ice cream. And you're just like, man, F those things and F this and F that. As y'all can see, I'm working on my profanity on this episode. So
Right. Yeah, you starting to go. You don't you negotiate with yourself.
I did, but I also want to do that and I need to do that. You see how I put those together? So
Right.
yes, that's what I feel about it.
Yeah, and like like I said, like you brought up a good point is learning from examples. Like some people learn different, right? So some people can read a manual script or a AFI or a book and be like, okay, cool, I got it. I know exactly what to do. I know exactly how to be. For I think for people like me and you, we learn from examples. So I learned from the people around me, the people I grew up with. I learned from an early age of like what I didn't want to do and how I wanted to be. And even from being a dad, like I learned from my dad, like things that I didn't want to do and things that I did want to do. You know what I mean? My dad instilled discipline in me, but he might have been a little bit too rough at times. And, I don't want to be like that with my boys. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's just the truth, right? He might listen to this and, Dad, I love you. Um, but there are things that you learn from people, all the time. And so I think that example of knowing how you want to be and how to control your mind, I think it starts from the lessons that you learned when you were young and the things that you see versus, it's kind of like eating the chicken and throwing away the bones type of deal. And then taking personal accountability for the times you mess up and the times you have to learn. I think that's an essential piece. I think
So
some people don't want to take accountability. Go ahead.
So for my hard-headed people out there, I don't know if y'all know, but Tay is an amazing boxer. Dude got hands. Like he do that. But an analogy that I use is when Tay be training people, he'd be like, look, got to keep your hand up to block this. And then they put their hand down and what you do, Tay?
Pop them.
You pop them. And I bet you they get their hand right back up. Yeah. With the stubborn people, you got to get popped in your head or you got to get your hand slapped before you learn. And you got to watch that because if you're going through rough situations, you're making tough decisions. Mm-hmm. And you got to reanalyze the decisions that you're making because hard-headed people go through the worst experiences. But it also makes me think, are hard-headed people the ones that want to learn the best way? Or is that the best way or is that the worst way? Like, I would think somebody telling me not to go down the road would help me. But sometimes going down the road helps me.
It's exposure. It's exposure. So, you expose your kids to certain things, right? You tell them not to touch that because it's hot.
They're going to touch it.
They're going to touch it, right? They've been exposed to that hot thing. So now they know it's ingrained. It's literally, physically, and mentally burnt into their mind not to touch that thing anymore, right? So it's just like us and people, younger people younger than us, they get exposed to certain things and they then know not to do that anymore. You know what I mean? But while you're getting exposed, you have to know that exposure, when you do something bad and you get exposed to that bad thing, there comes consequences. Mm-hmm. You might not, for the Air Force part, because we are in the Air Force or the military. Military, once you get exposed to that one thing that you did wrong, you might not be in the military anymore. Or you might have to be, reprimanded, or you might have to, deal with the consequences. But that exposure will allow you to understand what you can and cannot do. Like I said, your process may be messy, but your mess will be your message, right? Mm-hmm. So that's just all about exposure. So yeah, man. So I think that kind of wraps it up, man. What you think?
It is so good to be back.
It is, man.
For our followers, we back.
We back. You know what I mean?
ultimately, we want y'all to, give us your feedback. We miss y'all so much, just as much as you missed us. If y'all have questions that you want to hear about in this podcast, let us know. I have a few followers that I keep in contact with to this day. Hey, y'all asked and y'all received. So we're gonna have a few that come up in our season. I'm excited. It's a good season, man. 2022. How do you feel, Tay?
I feel great, man. I feel great. I feel happy to be talking to you guys again, to be giving people, the what's in our head all the time, the stuff that we talk about often. I feel good that I'm able to, just reconnect with people besides this. And even if this, I don't need a huge following. I would like a huge following. I don't need one. If I help one person, I'm happy. You know what I mean? If we save one person's life by listening to this podcast, I'm happy. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, dude, like we're back, and we're gonna keep this train rolling. And if you have any questions, if you want us to answer certain questions, hit us up, man. Hit us up. Our Instagram, Ritchie, what's your Instagram?
So my Instagram, I gotta find it, man. I'm too old
Yeah,
for this.
no, yeah, we old.
Figure out how this works.
A second, we should have had this prepared.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I failed you, sir. My Instagram is
myself. I threw it on you to hopefully take the energy off myself.
No. My Instagram is king_brown84.
Okay.
What about yours?
My Instagram, I don't know how do you. Is this mean that
old age, old? Man? Look at him.
Does this mean that we're old?
He still think he has a flip phone, y'all.
I do. Like, this is crazy. My Instagram is just, it was it Julius, Julius T25. So at Julius T25. Send us a message and we will make sure we have your question on our Instagram. So yeah, man, this is it. Like, hopefully we can get our other brothers on the podcast. They always have some dope comments to leave us and some nuggets to drop. And I love hearing Lowe's stories because he's just hilarious. And I love hearing P's. I want to hear more about P's adventure. But yeah, man, this is it. So thank y'all for listening. Ritchie, you got any last words?
Let me see. All right. Listen, be phenomenal. I don't normally tell my unicorn thing, but I'm going to tell it. I'm going to share it with y'all. Normally, y'all have to wait till another episode.
Okay.
But I just want to let y'all know, hey, I'm glad to be back. I'm glad that y'all still following. I'm glad that y'all are watching. We're real serious about hitting you up. We only do this because of requests, and we think that we're passing a lot of good knowledge. So the feedback we've been getting is wonderful. So continue to send that. And know that we love you all. If you're going through hard times, please hit us up. We're here to talk also. We're not a hotline. Call the hotline if you're really feeling too serious. But if you want to just talk, and we have the time, drop us a line and we'll try to share some of our experiences and guide you through some of your experiences. So no, that's all I have, man. I don't have a famous quote for today, but I will next episode.
Like I said, I always say, man, I guess my last little thought is, failure is a process and so is success. I said that earlier in the podcast, and I really mean that. Like, failure is going to be a process. It's a process to fail. You learn from that. And so is success. You learn from success and you learn from failure too. So don't give up when you fail and don't stop when you succeed. Okay.
Since he said that, I'll say this. Hey, Rome wasn't built overnight. I think you've heard that before, right? But neither was it destroyed overnight.
Hey, there you go.
Just because you got success and you had a setback doesn't mean that it's over, or you've had a few setbacks doesn't mean that it's over. Just keep fighting. Thanks, bro. Thanks for the alley. That was a good alley.
Hey, there we go. We tried, man. All right. Thank you, guys. See you in 2 weeks.
2 weeks.